Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a special video for you guys where I am going to be trying to save my friend's Disastrous game. My friend sent me this game file where he said he was too big and everything was going wrong. He was losing money, he had factions fighting wars against him, and he thought it would be a good idea to send me the save file and to see if there was anything I could do to save his game. I had a quick look around before at the file and it was pretty bad, so let's get into it and see what we can do. So here we are in the game, and my friend sent me this file and he said it was kind of a disaster of a game because of factions and pretty much everything that normally happens when you're playing a Crusader Kings 3 game and you end up having an empire at like this size. Judging by where his capital is, I'd say my buddy was going for a gold mines of Mali kind of game where you rock these gold mines here, which give you a ton of gold, and then you just have tons of money, and then from there you really don't have any problems because with the money you can pretty much do whatever you want. But the problem I'm seeing here is actually that my friend here did not change out of tribal government. So you can see here we are actually still tribal, which definitely has its downsides, especially this late in the game. First of all, he did a lot of things that were good. So if I look at the player, you can see we're a reformed faith, and of course he went for the naked faith. And speaking of natural primitivism, thanks to all your very kind comments last time, I found where the setting was to turn off nudity. So now that should save me a lot of time with having to edit censor bars over everything. But if we look at his character, you can see we have a reformed faith, which is good, and we're the Norman culture, so we combine the Norse and the French cultures here, which actually put you pretty far ahead in the tech tree. So for 1094 you're already in high medieval, which is pretty good. But you'll see the problem is that when you get this late in the game you really can't be tribal anymore, and even for a lot of these techs in early medieval you can't make use of them unless you're a feudal or a clan government. Like, you can't upgrade your buildings, and that's really a huge part of the game. And honestly, I think that is probably the main problem with this game that we have here. You have not been upgrading your buildings, so your power kind of just stagnated. I'm sure in the beginning of the game, being tribal in this area would be super helpful, and it's probably where you took all of this land, and you were probably rocking with tons of money. You clearly have tons of prestige, but the thing is, if you're not upgrading your buildings, you'll find you can get behind very, very quickly. So you'll see that you have a huge debt, which is really the main source of your problems, I would say. And you will not be able to get out of this debt unless we start upgrading all these buildings down here, really get your gold income going. Because let's say if we look at one of these gold mines, the first level is a +5 gold per month, which is huge. But the more you upgrade it, just the more money you make. So you could, I think, be on the tier 2 already for all of this. And you could have been developing your lands a lot further, which would have skyrocketed your gold income. These gold mines here, these 3 counties that you have, should be making you probably a gold income anywhere from like 20 to 50 gold at this point in the game. So I can see that's probably your main problem. I'm just going to go ahead and disband some of these armies that are sitting around. Another thing I know from this friend personally is that he loves to declare, like, he loves to be in 4 or 5 wars at once.
Oh boy, here I go killing again.
I don't know if it's by choice, but he always ends up being in like 3 wars, and then he'll have an independence war and another faction going against him. So currently you're in a war with an ally, I think, over here. So that's not really a big deal. We can kind of just let that play out and don't even have to do anything. But I really think that what you need for this game is just a lot of realm management. It seems like you can see here you actually have the above vassal limit notification, which just means that you have more. As an empire, you're able to hold 60 vassals, and you are currently 37 above that. So that just means your land really isn't divided that well. I can see you kind of did a better job up here in the north, but I was taking a look around these areas here, and you have a ton of just little counties that are directly under your control. And I find when you end up being an empire of this size, you really need to group these things up either into kingdoms or duchies, kind of like what you did here in Ireland. And I can see you are holding some land over here in Wales, of course. Honestly, the land around here in Africa, especially around the gold mines, is so good. You could just hold all of these. You could hold all these counties around here and have enough power to do whatever you want. Another problem in this game that I noticed was that you definitely have too many duchies. So you can really only hold 2 duchies before getting penalties to your vassal's opinion, and that's why you're probably getting so many factions created against you, is that all these vassals really hate you because of course you're over your domain limit, and I would assume you were dealing with that, but it's really also the duchies that really affect this. I think this video here is mainly just going to be me doing a lot of late game realm management to try to get you back onto a good footing here in your gold income, and try to get your most important vassals to like you. So I probably won't be taking much land, but I really just want to stabilize your empire. And I think a good way to start with that would be to get this domain limit something closer to something that's more manageable. And a good way to do that is if you go into your realm tab here, you can see all the domains that you're holding personally. And first, you're holding a lot of domains in your capital duchy, but that is fine because sometimes vassals will get mad at you if you hold their duchy. So you can see here this liege holds de jure duchy. That just means that you hold this, the duchy of Manding right here. So if you have a vassal that's in one of the duchies that you hold, they're always going to want to be the duke of that land. So I tend to try to hold 2 duchies. If I'm playing a game, I tend to try to hold 2 duchies, but hold every single county in those duchies for myself. I find that's like a really good way of managing your domain limit and not to get too many penalties to your vassal's opinion. So first of all, this county right here is not part of the duchy you're holding, so I'm just gonna go right ahead and grant that to somebody in this area. So I think this guy here honestly looks fine. He is part of your religion, so that's pretty important. And let's see, so you also hold this duchy here, so we're gonna go ahead and grant that also to this guy here. So we're gonna go ahead and grant this guy the whole duchy down here. Like I was explaining, having too many duchies will get you negative opinion with all your vassals. However, holding kingdoms doesn't at all. So I'll always try to hold all my kingdoms. And I guess if I get too big where I'm really over this vassal limit, that's when I will start grouping all of these duchy vassals together into kingdoms. But for now, like, let's look over here. You can see this place Kong. You have 2 counties here that you're holding, but they're actually really useless. Like, these are shitty tribe holdings, so they're not getting you anything. And you also have 2 counties who are directly under your rule, which it would be better just to give this whole duchy to one of them and then let that person rule over the other one. It'll help lower your vassal limit and lower your domain, lower the amount of domains that you are holding. Here we go. So we're just going to give this guy here those control of this whole duchy. So what I'm really looking for here is anywhere that has like a ton of just county holdings. Like here as an example, let's see what's going on. What I can tell from this game is that you're holding way too many duchies. You should really always try to be at your duchy limit, which is 2 or maybe 3. Just 1 over isn't the worst, but you really don't want to go too much over that. So you see we're already down from 37 to 32 vassals, but we're gonna get this all the way down. Okay, so you have some land up here. I guess you recently took this and forgot about it, so we'll grant this away to anybody, and I'll just look for somebody who's my culture and religion and just give them land. I'm not gonna be too picky here because we have a lot of land to go through. Where is this? So you got some land up north, and we'll grant her the whole duchy. We're already making our way down, 19 of 8. Okay, so you got 1 piece of land here in England. But again, you have 1 piece of land, but you can see you have these, a bunch of counties here. And the counties are attributing to your being way over your vassal limit. So what we're going to do is grant the Duchy of York to one of these guys here. And this lady here actually has both your religion, and your culture. So I think we're going to go ahead and grant that to her. So like you can see, we're just going to go around and do that for all of these domains that you're holding here. And I'm going to go ahead and try to group up a lot of these areas here where you have multiple counts, but you could have it being ruled by just one duke. So I'll be right back after a little bit more of that.
A few moments later.
So I'm almost done going through, but what I've noticed is just there's a bunch of places where you just have one county with a bunch of other counts around it, and these are perfect examples of places you can just give away, because like you're really not getting any value from this one castle over here in Finland. So what I'm going to do is I look and I see that this is all one duchy here from Finland, and you already have a vassal here. So we go to him, we grant him a title, we go down to find out where the duchy is, and then we grant him both the county that's in here and the duchy. And I find that if he's the ruler and he already has 2 out of, let's say, like 4 or 5 counties in this duchy, he'll be the strongest one, so it'll just stop the other factions from rising up against him, and he'll be able to have a good control over the area. It also gets rid of 1 direct vassal that you have and a county at the same time. Okay, so we were able to get our domains back to something more manageable, and we are now holding only 2 duchies, which is the limit. And you can see we've decided to hold this duchy here in Wales. I know my friend wanted to hold this land, so we're going to keep that for him. And then we are also holding the duchy where our capital is. And another thing that's just a little bit of bad management is obviously you want to hold this county here that has the gold mine, but when you give away the duchy to somebody else, they're not going to like you. They're going to get a negative opinion with you because of the duke will always want all of the counties in that region under their control. So they're not going to be happy about that, and you're kind of wasting a slot for the duchy building here. So since this is the capital of the duchy, you can build your duchy specific building here. But since you don't own this duchy, since you gave it away to this guy here, then it's impossible to make the duchy capital building here. So it's just like a little bit of forethought is needed when starting a game, to think like, which 2 duchies do I really want to hold for myself, and then I should start granting all the other ones away. So a problem we still have is that we're way above our vassal limit now, and that is probably just because we have some counties around. But even just by holding all these duchies, like since you have a lot of land, I think you'll have to consolidate some of these duchies into kingdoms and give away those kingdom tiles. It's not something I like doing because I find when you grant away kingdoms, sometimes the people can become really powerful and be a pain in your ass, but when you're really above your limit by 30 vassals, there's almost nothing else you can do. I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. You can also do this grant vassal option, which I'm going to do anywhere I see I saw this county here and it was on its own, so anytime I see one of those, I'm just going to grant it to the nearest duchy vassal to help get the value lowered also. So as an example right here, you can see there's this little county here who's alone, so I'm going to go grant vassal and give him that person, and that should help lower our limit. So I'm going to go around and do that, as well as maybe consolidate some of these duchies into their kingdoms. So another sign of just bad realm management is when I went over here and I was granting this duchy some of these counties here, I looked at this county here in Wales and I was like, who owns this? And it's this kid. So you click on him and you can see from this arrow that his direct liege is all the way over here in Novgorod. So it just doesn't really make sense to have this guy be controlling that tiny little place all the way over there, because they're going to be different cultures, have the population is going to be different, and then this guy is my direct vassal. So I would try to refrain from letting this happen, but I know when your empire is really big it could be hard to control. But now we can't really grant this piece of land here in Wales to like a proper Welsh owner. Okay, so I finally did that. I made some kingdoms, or I granted away some kingdoms just to get rid of all the vassals that we had. But I think we'll have a much easier time managing our realm now. You can see our gold already went up a ton to 60 per month now, which is a way better. And you can see our troops too are going to replenish to 56,000. So that was the first major thing of realm management I really wanted to get done. You can also see some of our vassals are starting to hate us a little bit less, but it's really, we have, if you look here, we have a negative 109 from tyranny. So that's going to go away as we continue to play here. And our son actually doesn't have any murderous traits, so that's good for him also, even though he is obese. That's okay. The next big thing I really wanted to do was adopt feudal ways, and this will hurt the amount of men we can have, and we won't be able to make use of all of this beautiful prestige that you've been getting. But what it will let us do is upgrade all of these buildings. You can see we just need gold now to upgrade these buildings, but now that we're making 60 gold per month, we're going to have gold coming out of our asses. So we'll be able to upgrade all of our castles, upgrade all of our buildings. It's going to be great. So I think we did enough management here just to let this start playing on its own. And we'll see what happens with factions and things. Hopefully nobody too strong comes up. The one good thing my friend was doing, which I do have to give him props for, is he had a ton of kids, and especially a lot of daughters that he married off to. Because you can see here in the faction menu, all these vassals who can't join factions, a lot of them, it's because they're actually allied to us. And they're allied to us because we married off our daughters to them. You can already see our gold income is getting fixed here, and we have 3,000 troops. Okay, so we just died. Now we have to place Emperor Canute. And wow, okay, so it looks like it changed our primary empire. But I'm pretty sure we can change this, make primary, if we wanted to stay as Mali, which I think we do. We inherited all of this land that our son had. This we can just give away, because we don't need this land here in Brittany. It's not really helping us much, and we actually already have a vassal here, so we'll just give her land. That has no problem for us. So just like that, we made a new friend. You can see she's gonna have a lovely opinion with us now, and we got rid of a vassal and some of our titles. Where else do we have too much land? So now we have some land here in England too we're gonna have to get rid of. We appear to be in a couple wars that our son was in, fighting for land. Okay, so we'll probably have a bunch of faction wars coming out of this, but as long as they're not too strong, we should be okay. So which throne is this? I don't understand how they want to install her on the throne. Well, that's fine. Okay, so this faction here wants to put this lady on the throne for the Kingdom of Brittany. But what would happen if I just grant her? What if I just grant her the title instead? Because I don't really need to hold it. Okay, and just like that, we got rid of that faction. Okay, so we have another faction, and these people want independence, so this one's more dangerous. Okay, so we have a lot of alliances to negotiate here, which are good because these allies will stop these guys from being able to join factions against us. So anybody who has like a big army, I'm going to negotiate an alliance right away. So like these people with kingdoms, that's perfect. So I think a couple of those guys were actually in this. I think this guy was in that faction. Yeah. So just like that, that whole independence faction disbanded because I just recruited some of the vassals. I just allied myself with them, and I think we were able to ally ourselves with them because we were probably all related. I think my friend had done a good job of spreading his family's genes all over the world. Okay, so we have another independence faction that's building here, and we'll have to do something about that. So something else that we should do is that we have these siege weapons, but every era you unlock a new siege weapon, and it's normally a good idea to break your old ones and upgrade them as soon as you unlock the new ones, because each tier of siege weapon is actually like a pretty noticeable difference. So you can see these ones give you a bonus of a siege progress of 0.2, and this one's 0.3. So that's like a noticeable increase on onagers. So I'm going to go ahead and create 2 more regiments of siege units. So unfortunately for me, it looks like we're going to be having an independence faction war. But I guess for you guys, it is more exciting than watching me grant away counties and duchies for the entire game. So we'll see if we're able to defend against this. If not, I mean, like, if we lose some of our land, it's really not the end of the world. Often I find if you're faced with a really difficult war, it's better just to surrender right away and then rebuild your troops and retake the land later in the future when you're in a better position. But one thing I'm going to do just to quickly lower the strength of this independent faction, they have this lady here, the Duchy of Aquitaine, who has almost 7,000 troops, and I'm just going to grant her to the Queen of Brittany here. And when we do that, it should lower the strength. Yeah, so you can see the strength did go down a bit because now they are missing their strongest person. Okay, so this has just gone from bad to worse. I've realized that we have a murder scheme against us, and it looks like it's really gonna happen. It's a 95% chance, which is the highest it can go. I've tried changing my wife to intrigue just to boost my intrigue a little bit, and we have our spy master on disrupt schemes, but it doesn't look like we are going to survive this one, and it's really not good because our heir is actually quite bad. It does not look like a good heir at all, I'm not gonna lie, but we'll just have to see what happens, I guess. Oh wow, that's huge. There's actually no way we rolled that. So it looks like somebody failed to murder me, which is actually awesome. But we still have to do an independence war. Let's see. So a lot of guys down here, and I find the trick to an independence war is when all the armies raise, that's like your chance to go in and just start destroying some people. And the good thing about our gold income is even though we have most of our military raised right now, we're only losing 4 gold per month. So it's actually pretty big. The problem is that we let these guys group up here, so now they have a 9,000 stack running around. But I think with our stacks, we should still be able to take them on if they try to take our capital or something. So we have a big stack over here, 10k units. It's not a good idea to attack through this big river here, so I'll probably wait until they move and then try to attack them. The good thing is they're running low on supplies, so that should help. Oh yeah, we can catch some of them over here, which is perfect. Yes. Okay, so we caught a big piece of their army over there. That's going to be a huge win in the battle. It probably would have been good to be in the military tree right now to get me a little bit of boost to my army, but that was pretty huge. And now if I could catch these guys off guard, that would also be perfect. Okay. Another big dub. The problem is there's also a war happening in England right now and they're just taking so much land, but I really won't be able to deal with that until after I deal with kind of like all these African guys down here. Okay, another pretty big win. We're killing their units left, right, and center right now. I'm probably going to try to replenish my army's supplies because they are running low right now. In the midst of this giant independence war, you know, I have a lot of money, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade my gold mine for 500 gold. Shouldn't really put a dent in our battle. I'll have to upgrade these as we go also. We're actually doing pretty well in this independence war, even though it says they have a ton of troops, like almost double what I have, but it's really because a lot of them are in the north. I think honestly if I do it piece by piece, we should be able to win. Wow, we are also getting a lot of really good sons. Look at this guy. It looks amazing. So we currently have a huge battle going on here, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go our way. Yes. Let's look at the damages. So yeah, it was 13,000 against 10,000. Oh, it was actually pretty even, but the victory will definitely help the war score a lot here. You can see we're already at 60%. So honestly, I could white peace these guys out right now and they wouldn't be able to join a independence faction for 5 years. And that's pretty good, but honestly the way it's going, I think we can just win it outright. And there aren't any other factions that are going just yet, but we got a few that are close. But I think I think we should be able to survive this right here. Okay, so we did it. We successfully defended against the Independence faction, which is awesome. So now I'm pretty sure we get to imprison all these people, which is one of my favorite activities, because now they are no longer able to join any factions because they're imprisoned. But what I could also do is go to each of their lands and revoke all their titles and give it away to new people who hopefully would like me better. So I'm thinking I'll probably do that, but I think first I'm going to defend against this war here. It's not huge, it's just for this little duchy here, but you know, I can't have people, I can't have tiny nations coming around thinking they can just take duchies away from me. These guys are starving themselves to death anyway, so it should not be too hard to kill them all. And just like that, we do one quick little stack wipe, and we are ready to enforce our demands. So just like that, we have defended against all the Independence factions. We now have 2,000 gold because it was just building up that whole time. And I think we have to upgrade this castle so we can upgrade the gold mine thereafter. And we'll have to do the same over here to this castle. Oh, but see, this castle here is actually the wrong culture. So we're going to go ahead over here and start converting it. Okay, and just like that, we finished our gold mine. So you can see our gold from this one county here is now 15, which is pretty big.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
We really should create a building here, which, here we go, this is what we want to build, the tax office. So if we look at this, we're getting 8 gold per month from the gold mine. The tax office will increase all of our gold income by 10% here. So right now with a gold income of 15 gold per month, this is going to have a direct impact of 1.5 gold just by building this one tax office, which is pretty good. And the best thing is it's going to continue to stack with all of our other bonuses. So we really want to get all this land around us to be upgraded, but the problem is it's not the right culture. So after I'm done with this other gold mine here, I'm going to have to convert these other counties that I'm holding to our culture so we can continuously upgrade them and let all the benefits flow through our beautiful empire. So I think when my friend remade his little religion here, he gave equal gender law, which normally I don't really mind because it just doubles the amount of kids you can have who will be like able to rule your empire. So if you have a good daughter, it's not the end of the world. I'm gonna have to go to male preference after I get the next crown level of authority, just because I have too many daughters right now, so it would be a pain for my land to split or to have to disinherit those 2 daughters. I'd rather focus on these sons I have here, which both look pretty good, pretty playable. But other than that, our money is doing very well. And look at this, all of the factions are pretty weak. We only have a few people trying to join factions. Okay, so I worked up enough prestige to be able to pass high crown authority, which I need to change my laws in my realm. And I did it just from creating kingdoms, which with all our gold income, it was very easy to do. So we're going to go ahead and pass that. And now if we go to succession and we change this to male preference, we'll just have to wait a little bit until we have 500 prestige again. And maybe if we sway this guy a little bit, we won't have to send him a gift. But I've been doing a good job at fending off any factions. It looks like there's one growing right now, a Liberty faction, because of the crown authority level. But as long as I'm able to pass my gender law, I can reduce the crown authority and this should go away. I also had my wife on patronage, which actually, I don't know if you knew this, but your learning lowers the cost of raising crown authority. You can see here it says reduces prestige cost to increase crown authority, or when you demand conversion. So I put my wife on patronage just to give me an extra 10 learning, which did decrease the price it costed in prestige by maybe around 500, which was very nice. But now I'll change her back to domain so I can make a little bit more money. And maybe if there's something else I could create, maybe a duchy to give me 300, this would be perfect. Where is this duchy actually? So I'll create this duchy and I'll have to give it away right away, but that shouldn't be a problem. I'll just grant to this king who's already in this area. So now I have enough prestige to change my laws. And if we go male preference, so that you'll see right now I have 2 of my daughters in my succession line, but the second I change this law, you'll see now we just have my sons, because now it's male preference, which is good.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And I'll probably disinherit one of these guys depending on which one is the best, I guess the best traits. And now we can actually go down and drop our crown authority, and we'll see this faction should go away, I would think. So it looks like some people are leaving the faction, but even if I do have to fight these guys, it doesn't look like they would be very strong. Oh, and there you go. So it just went down low enough. It's just dropping like a rock now. See, since I dropped my crown level authority after changing my law, most of the people went out of the faction. And there will still be factions created against us, but they're normally pretty weak considering how strong we are. And I think this game is actually looking pretty good. So in our capital, we can continue to make... I'm going to build anything that's a gold income because we have the tax office. So we want to stack all of our gold income in our capital. And over here, we finished our level 2 castle, so we can upgrade our second gold mine. And over here, we'll have to upgrade to our another castle once we get another 400 gold. If you're playing a game with these gold mines of Mali, you should really be focusing on upgrading the gold mines as fast as you can and as much as is humanly possible, because the gold income in this game will be your saving grace. So there we go, we can upgrade our castle over here. I'm also converting a lot of my vassals away from their old religion. You can see there's a lot of people who aren't your religion. If they're their vassal, they'll try to join factions against you, but you can see just by demanding conversion from them, that'll have to drop him out of the faction because he's no longer part of that religion. And honestly, I think this game is looking pretty good now. I think I might hand it back over to my friend for him to continue, because it looks like I would consider this game saved. We now have almost 100 gold per month income coming in, and the second these gold mines finish and this second castle finishes and he can upgrade the other gold mine, there's really going to be nothing stopping him from just going on and continuing the game. You can see we don't have any factions that are really of strength. This is just a liberty faction, so it's not that bad. Our gold income is good, our prestige is good. We're lined up for the next era with one of two of these really good sons, so he can just disinherit whichever one he doesn't like. I think I would consider this game saved. I think the major problem he had in this game, which is a problem I find a lot, is he would just want to take land as fast as possible without even taking any time to really consolidate your power and make sure that everybody likes you and there aren't any problems. Because when you do expand as quick as this, it really does create problems with you either being factions or just not even managing your realm, like not upgrading your buildings properly, which will see your power decrease. But now that we are feudal and we're making tons of money, I think this game is now in a perfect situation to continue and to take over the rest of the world. On that note, I think I'm going to end the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun for me to do. I'm thinking maybe in the future I'll be able to take some viewer suggested games. Like if you guys have games that you think are unsavable, it could be fun to go in and try to improve them. So I'm going to have to think about that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.